Hi everyone and welcome to the channel where you can learn Russian with a native speaker. My name is Daria and in this video we're going to read a story in the Russian language together. But not just to read. I will explain vocabulary units that we come across in the text and give you more additional examples and explanations on how to use those words in your daily life conversation in the Russian language. And the most interesting part, you don't have to use the dictionary while reading because I will translate everything for you. First, we read the story with my translation and explanation. Next, I read the story slowly for you and pause after each sentence. So go ahead and repeat these sentences after me because this is a practice lesson. Last, I read the story at a normal speed so you can get used to the speed of conversational Russian language. But before we start, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the bell button below so you don't miss any useful videos that will help you learn the Russian language. And this story is about a little girl named Lena. It's the name Helen, but in Russian language. Лена и ее бабушка. Лена и ее бабушка. Helen and her grandma. Бабушка Лены выращивает розы в саду. Бабушка Лены выращивает розы в саду. Helen's grandmother grows roses in her garden. Helen's grandmother, бабушка Лены. Mind that we changed the word order in the English translation. Helen's grandmother, бабушка Лены. We also changed the ending of the name Lena into Лены. Выращивает, grows, розы, roses, in her garden, в саду. Let's have a look at the first vocabulary unit here. Выращивать что-то где-то. To grow something somewhere. Выращивать. In the sentence, we change the ending into «ет». Выращивает. This is a very common thing for Russians because we love growing something in our gardens. Let's look at the places where else we can grow something. В саду, as in the example here, as in our story, in the garden. На огороде, in the kitchen garden or in the vegetable garden. Almost every Russian who lives in a village has this kitchen garden or a vegetable garden, and he or she actually grows lots of vegetables and fruits in there. So then we can grow the flowers in the flower bed, на клумбе, во дворе, in the yard, or в теплице, в теплице, in a hothouse. And most all of the Russians who live in the central part of Russia have a hot house for vegetables and fruits, because summers in the central part of Russia are quite cold, and if you don't have a hot house, you won't probably have lots of veggies to eat and to preserve for winter. So let's change the context of this sentence and say that Helen's granny grows vegetables in a hothouse or in the yard. Бабушка Лены выращивает розы на клумбе. Бабушка Лены выращивает розы на клумбе. Helen's grandmother grows roses in the flower bed. Я выращиваю помидоры и огурцы в теплице. Я выращиваю помидоры и огурцы в теплице. I grow tomatoes and cucumbers in a hothouse. Then let's get back to the story. Лена помогает ей поливать розы, когда на улице жарко и сухо. Лена помогает ей. Helen helps her поливать розы, water the roses, когда на улице жарко и сухо. When it's hot and dry outside. Когда на улице жарко и сухо. When it's hot and dry outside. In the translation of this sentence, we also change the word order because in the English language we have to stick to the strict order of the words, while in Russian we don't usually care about the word order. So the first vocabulary unit here is помогать кому-то делать что-то. To help somebody do something. Помогать кому-то делать что-то. In the sentence, we change the ending of the word here depending on the pronoun or on the subject we have in the sentence. Лена, она, что делает? What does she do? Помогает. We change the ending into yet. If you want to talk about your actions, you have to change the ending of the word помогать into помогаю. What do I do? Я помогаю детям собирать игрушки. I help my kids to gather their toys. Я помогаю детям собирать игрушки. Look at the word собирать. In this sentence, it stands in a bare infinitive. It's an infinitive, so you don't have to care about the ending of this word. We just change the ending of the first one, and the next one will leave as it is in the dictionary. Let's look at this sentence. Когда на улице жарко и сухо. На улице, outside. The word outside that I used for the translation of the sentence is not the first meaning of the word на улице. If you look this word up in the dictionary, you probably see the word street. Улица, street. But in this sentence, we don't mean that it's hot and dry like in the street. We mean that the weather is hot and dry. And here we use the word на улице in the meaning of the weather, in the meaning погода, weather, погода. In this sentence, we can also add the word погода, but then if we add that, we have to change the ending of those words, жарко and сухо. Let's look at this sentence. Когда погода жаркая, нужно чаще поливать цветы. Когда погода жаркая, when the weather is hot, нужно чаще поливать цветы. You need to water the flowers more often. But if we drop the word погода in the sentence, we don't have to worry about the ending of the word жарко because we don't have to change it. Когда жарко, when it's hot, нужно чаще поливать цветы. You need to water the flowers more often. So let's get back to the story. Ее бабушка продает розы на рынке по субботам и воскресеньям. Her grandmother, ее бабушка, продает розы на рынке. Sells the roses on the market. по субботам и воскресеньям. On Saturdays and Sundays. Продавать что-то где-то. To sell something somewhere. Продавать is an infinitive. In the sentence, we change the ending of this word. Бабушка продает. This situation is very common for our country because we love growing something in our gardens, in our vegetable gardens, in just gardens, in our flower beds, and then sell it. I personally have relatives who grow tomatoes, cucumbers, any sort of veggies, and they actually sell everything they've grown at the market. But let's have a look at the places where else we can sell something. We can sell на рынке, on the market, в магазине, in the shop, в супермаркете, в супермаркете, in a supermarket. And there is one more interesting thing in this sentence. Those are words суббота и воскресенье. In the English language, if we want to say something about just one Saturday and one Sunday combined together, we use the word weekend. But if we want to emphasize that some action happens on every Saturday and Sunday, we use the word weekends. We add the letter S to the word and we actually understand that we're talking about 2 or 3 Saturdays and 3 Sundays at the same time. But in Russian, we don't change the word выходные. So when you use this word, the word выходные in the sentence, the person you speak to don't usually get the right idea of how many Saturdays and Sundays you mean. So if you want to be clear about this, you can say каждые выходные. That will mean on weekends. Она приходит на рынок в 8 часов и возвращается в 12. Она приходит, she comes, на рынок, at the market, в 8 часов, at 8 o'clock, и возвращается в 12, and returns at 12. Пока бабушки нет, Лена ждет ее дома. Пока бабушки нет, while her grandmother is away, Лена ждет, Лена waits ее дома. For her at home. Let's have a look at the meaning of the word ждет. Ждать means wait for. Wait for something. Mind that in the Russian language we don't use any prepositions with the word ждать. After the verb ждать comes the noun without any prepositions. And there is an interesting phrase in the Russian language. It's a proverb ждать погоды у моря. Ждать погоды у моря. Wait for the grass to grow. We use this phrase ждать погоды у моря when we want to talk about the action that will never happen without us taking steps to this action. Like in the situation when a person wants to find a job or wants to make his dream to come true, but he never does anything for that. And the difference between the English translation and the Russian one is quite funny because when we translate this sentence word by word, Russians usually wait for a good weather at the seaside. And English speakers wait for the grass to grow. And the difference between the phrases are very funny because English speakers love to grow their grasses, while in Russian, this is not a popular thing to do. We don't usually care about our grasses because most of us don't have the grass at all. So if we want to tell someone like stop waiting, не жди погоды у моря. Действуй. Не жди погоды у моря. Don't wait for the grass to grow. Действуй. Go ahead and take an action, like do something. Do. Don't wait. Then back to the story. Она присматривает за розами и другими растениями в саду. Она присматривает. She keeps an eye за розами, on the roses, и другими растениями в саду, and other flowers in the garden, or other plants in the garden. The first vocabulary unit here is присматривать за чем-то или кем-то. To keep an eye on something or somebody. So again, we change the ending of the word присматривать. This is an infinitive, and we use this word with the pronoun она. What does she do? Что она делает? Она присматривает. We can use this vocabulary unit in different contexts. Let's imagine the situation that you've just arrived at the airport or at a station, and somebody asks you, не присмотрите за сумками? Не присмотрите за сумками? Can you keep an eye on my bags or my luggage, like while I'm buying a ticket or while I'm doing something else? Sometimes people in Russian can ask you to keep an eye on their luggage, especially in the airport or like in the public place. Then we can use this verb with our relatives or friends if we want to ask them to do something for us, like не присмотришь за детьми? Не присмотришь за детьми? Can you keep an eye on my kids? Can you look for my kids for a little bit? And here we use the word присматривать, not in the meaning of to watch, to see, or it has nothing to do with our eyes actually, but we also use this word in the meaning of doing something. And if I ask someone to look after my kids, it means that the person will do something when there is a need of it. For example, my child is hungry and a person, my mom or my husband, will feed the child. Then let's move on to another example. Присмотри за кашей, пожалуйста. Присмотри за кашей, пожалуйста. Keep an eye on my porridge, please. In this sentence, when we use the verb присмотри, we're asking a person to cook the porridge for us. For example, I have to answer the phone call or I have to make a phone call and I ask my husband to keep an eye on my porridge. If this porridge needs to be mixed, he will take care of it. Бабушка Лены рада, что у нее такая трудолюбивая внучка. Бабушка Лены рада. Helen's grandmother is happy, что у нее такая, that she has such трудолюбивая внучка, such a hardworking granddaughter. Бабушка Лены рада, что у нее такая трудолюбивая внучка. If we look at the second part of this sentence, что у нее такая трудолюбивая внучка, we don't find the verb in this sentence. But when we translate the sentence into English, we have the word has, that she has such a hard-working granddaughter. This is because sometimes the verbs can be dropped in the Russian language. We usually drop the word иметь, that has the meaning to have, and we usually drop the verb быть, the verb to be. Let's look at the sentences where we drop the verb to have. У меня такая красивая кошка. У меня есть такая красивая кошка. Sometimes we can use the word есть, and sometimes we just drop it. But mind the difference. Here's the verb есть, and at first we want to translate this verb as the verb to be. Быть, являться, находиться. To be, am, is, are. But it's not the verb to be. This is the verb to have. Иметь, обладать. У меня такая красивая кошка. I have such a beautiful cat. У нее такой большой дом. У нее, she has, такой большой дом. Such a big house. We say у нее, dropping the verb to have. I think it's great that in some cases we drop the verb to have or to be, because here we don't have to worry about the endings of the verb because we don't have it. And now when we've read and learned the text and vocabulary units in it, let's read this text together in a slow Russian. I will read each sentence slowly and then pause after each sentence for you to practice it, for you to repeat the sentence after me. So go ahead and practice your Russian with me. Let's get started. Бабушка Лены выращивает розы в саду. Лена помогает ей поливать розы, когда на улице жарко и сухо. Ее бабушка продает розы на рынке по субботам и воскресеньям. Она приходит на рынок в 8 часов и возвращается в 12. Пока бабушки нет, Лена ждет ее дома. Она присматривает за розами и другими растениями в саду. Бабушка Лены рада, что у нее такая трудолюбивая внучка. And now I'm going to read this text one more time at a normal speed. Бабушка Лены выращивает розы в саду. Лена помогает ей поливать розы, когда на улице жарко и сухо. Ее бабушка продает розы на рынке по субботам и воскресеньям. Она приходит на рынок в 8 часов и возвращается в 12. Пока бабушки нет, Лена ждет ее дома. Она присматривает за розами и другими растениями в саду. Бабушка Лены рада, что у нее такая трудолюбивая внучка. So guys, I hope you liked the story and liked reading this story with me and that it was useful for your Russian language. If so, please let me know about that in the comments down below. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments down below. And if you have any video requests for me, let me know, because I want to help you learn the Russian language. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and see you guys in the next video. Bye!